Thank you for joining me on this learning journey. So today we're going to be talking about how the Fab-A-Diffy game ends, as well as what happens when the 45 minutes are up, because all the Division 3 Math Pentathlon games, all of them go on for 45 minutes. They have a 45-minute time limit. And so those are the things that I want to be talking about today. And I also want to touch on the question of, is Fab-A-Diffy a round game? Because I know that there are other games in Math Pentathlon in Math Pentathlon in general, even in different divisions, that are round games. So meaning, if the player that played first declares a win, then player 2 also gets to play and finish the round. And I want to go over whether or not that applies for Fab-A-Diffy. And I think after I explain how the game ends, that'll start to make a bit more sense. So how does the game end? Well, the game ends when there are no more fraction strips in the deck to put onto the show box. So there is no discard pile where fraction strips keep going back into the deck. So once all the cards are gone from the deck, then that round is over. Not the game, the round. And then, depending on how the other two rounds went, they'll decide, the game monitor, or you'll be able to tell whether you won or not, because it'll just be how many games you won versus how many games you tied or how many games you lost. And they'll put that all together and then decide if you won the Fab-A-Diffy event or not. So back to what I was saying about how the game ends. Let's just say there's just this one singular fraction strip left in the deck. Everything else has been used to form tricks, or it's been placed on, or these 5 have been placed here on the board. So let's say it's player B's turn. Player B flips this over. They see whether or not they can form a trick, and they can, so they announce it. They say 3/6 minus 5/12 is equal to 1/12. They touch and announce, and then they take this trick. Well, what does player A do now? Nothing. The game is over. The round is over. So the two players just count their tricks. The player with the higher amount of tricks wins the round, and if the two players have an equal amount of tricks, it's a tie is declared for that round. And then another thing I wanted to go over was what happens when the time limit is reached. So if the time limit is reached, and say there are plenty of fraction strips in the deck now, and player A just turned over a new fraction strip onto the deck, then you get to finish the round for that. So in that sense, you could say that it's a round game only if the reason why it ends is a time limit. Because that's the only time when there will actually be more fraction strips to turn over and play as a round game. And other than that, it's not a round game, because it ends when there are no more fraction strips to turn over onto the show box. So, with my personal experience, I don't think that, at least in the tournament, maybe during practice it would have happened a couple times, but I'm trying to think. I don't think in the tournament it's ever been that we had to, at least for my games, maybe it happened in other games, where we had to end because of a time limit for Fab-A-Diffy. I guess it does depend on what cards you, or what fraction strips you and your opponent draw, but honestly, I don't think with a game like Fab-A-Diffy, I don't think I've really seen it have to end because of a time limit. Then again, it all depends on that particular game. You can't really generalize about that, so that's why that rule is there, that if the time limit does run out, then this is how you play it. And yeah, we talked about how to win, you know, like the goal and stuff in our first video, so I think that's all. So I think that this is the last video for the Fab-A-Diffy rules series. So in the next video, we'll be talking about some fun tricks, not tricks as in fraction strips, but I mean, not tricks as in sets of fraction strips, but tricks as in tips and tricks, on how to succeed in this game and how to do really well in this game in the tournament, how to spot some tricks and things like that. And yeah, I hope that those videos will be really fun and full of aha moments. And I would really appreciate it if you leave your comments, feedback, questions, suggestions for additional learnings below. And if you have any unanswered questions about the rules of Fab-A-Diffy that I did not cover in the past 5 videos, leave that below as well, and I will be happy to look into them and let you know, or if I already know the answer, just to answer you straight away. And I hope that after these 5 videos, after this series of 5 videos, you have a good understanding of how to play the Fab-A-Diffy game, and that you're able to play this game and follow all the rules. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.